Hi, my name is Maral and I will be teaching you CAS 205 Media Photography, which covers Adobe Lightroom, this very interface we're on, and Adobe Photoshop, which is this software right here. Now, Lightroom and Photoshop are connected yet independent at the same time. They are connected because they deal with imagery. We use this software to make changes to images, enhance images, and so forth. But they're independent because we don't need one to work with the other. So you might not work with Lightroom at all, but be a professional in Photoshop, it's fine. But this class covers both, and we learn a great deal, hopefully. Now, what Adobe Lightroom does is it basically allows us to do two things. The first thing is to import images and organize images. So once we import hundreds of images, let's say we went on a shoot, we took hundreds of images, we import them into Lightroom, we have the ability to organize images into collections, maybe put the better images in a certain collection, the less good images in another collection. That way we can refer to these images at a later time to make selections, perhaps to delete the ones that are bad, and so forth. So organization is one thing that Lightroom allows us to do. The second thing is basically it allows us to achieve great image quality in our images. So it's a very intuitive solution for bringing out the best in our pictures, and it's a powerful tool to achieve amazing image quality just by making small changes of contrast, adding vibrance, and so forth. Now, besides allowing us to do these two main important things, which are organization and image enhancement, Lightroom is actually limited. And when I say limited, I don't mean it in a negative way. I just mean that it's not as sophisticated as Photoshop. So what the step-by-step process can be is actually import images into Lightroom, organize them into collections so that we know where every image is, and make enhancements to these images within Lightroom, and then open an image in Photoshop if necessary to make further changes. Magical touches, additional layers, and things like that. So let's say, for example, I go ahead and open this image in Photoshop, which is an image of Rome, and I'll go ahead and show you that I already did that. In Photoshop, I can add things that I cannot in Lightroom. For example, what if I want to add the image of a tree right here over this building? What if I want to add birds flying in the sky? What if I just want to draw like red leaves, maple leaves? Let me go ahead and do that. This is my brush tool just to show you an example real quick. I can go ahead and just add leaves just like that. So these additional magical tricks we cannot do in Lightroom, but we can do in Photoshop. Now, the order of the class is going to be Lightroom first and Photoshop second. But before starting with Lightroom, there's going to be an intro to the history of photography and the history of cameras offered by Professor Jackie Hawthorne, who is a photojournalist and a photographer. She generously offered us a couple of tutorials about the history of photography and cameras, and we will start our class with that, and followed by that, our first tutorial will be about Lightroom and then Photoshop.